The law of buoyancy and why I stopped seeking peace. I'm Queen with Soft Eye Boutique here to talk about, y'all know I got my journal, hold on, about the law of buoyancy. Pull this up. So, I have officially stopped seeking peace. I've just done away with it. It also brings a bit of like heartache and negative connotations because the Black conscious community, like in their greetings, like how Muslims say, Assalamu alaikum, the Black conscious community, they say peace in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Depending on which school of thought that you with, they say it's like different languages, but it all means peace. But Assalamu alaikum means may peace be upon you as well. And we see all the type of turmoil and all the foolishness that they have going on in their countries over there. So, why I started to seek a life of buoyancy and living amongst other things, other laws, the law of buoyancy. This was something that I've been thinking about, the law of buoyancy, for a while, because I remember I made some little flashcards a long time ago, and like vision cards, and I would just go through them and read them, and it would either be words or really short phrases, so I can have that eye mind connection. And I remember that I made those cards like 2014, 2015, and I still have them. But one of them said buoyant, and buoyant means capable of floating, cheerful or gay, which is happy, capable of maintaining a satisfactorily high level. That was the Webster version. Cambridge, able to float, happy and confident, successful or making a profit, successful and with a lot of activity, increasing or staying at a high level. Oxford, tending to increase or stay at a high level, usually showing financial success, not easily depressed, cheerful. So, I decided to live a life of buoyancy because for me and what I believe, like I have said plenty of times, the group that just did away with me because I am who I say I am and I really live life like I say I live my life, and I'm not a fake or a fraud like them. Um what they taught about the Black woman and the Black girl, they were not teaching the full truth. So it was like they will say something, it would be very casual, like, oh, this is who you are, but they never ever really went really deep in it. Only one person I have ever met, he did a YouTube video about it. It actually kind of sort of went viral, but now that I go back with the set of eyes and the insight that I have, his video, the way that he was explaining things about who the Black girl and Black woman is, it was more so of how much pain and everything that Black girls and women can withstand without breaking, because he did it off of like resiliency. So F him and the woman that I don't even think that they married underneath no United States law, because that's how they get down. Or if they do get married, it's like some regular old ignorant shit, and they essentially shacking up, and then they finally get married after all these years. But I don't even think he's married under the law to that woman that he got a child with, and she doesn't even believe anything that he lives by. So he really did that video for nothing. But that's neither here nor there at this point. But like I was saying, they don't teach the full scope of who they say that the black girl and woman is. Now, when I did my own research, that is actually what woke me up. When I started reading more into the science of who they say the black girl and woman is, and I still actually believe that wholeheartedly. Now, who the men and boys say they are, people can say whatever they want to say, but if it's not actually externalizing your reality, you're literally just saying it. And I'll never forget one of the guys who I was really running with. I guess he was my teacher or my enlightener. There's this cult leader out of Mississippi, and I remember the guy who was teaching me the lessons and the teachings. He told me that the cult leader had told him, "Oh, the teachings that he was living by was child's play." And essentially it really is. They really, really low level. I never forget, they really think that they high scientists. Like, they really say this type of stuff. And so they'll get into these groups and they will talk about things. They will talk about science. And I was taking calculus, trig, physics, AP classes, all of that when I was in high school. I went to the #1 public school district in the state of Louisiana, and I was in those STEM classes. I was in those honors classes. I took military science. Like, I really was well rounded as a student. And so when I got into these huddles, I'll say that I'm being very vague with the words because I don't want anybody to go and look them up and kind of get caught up in it. They were talking about science, okay? And here I am thinking that I'm going to hear something that I never heard before that was really just going to blow my mind. And they were just talking about base level physics, base level this, base level that. And that was the stuff that I learned in high school. So it was situations where I'm like, really? Like, in my mind, I'm like, really, this is what this is. Like, y'all kicking knowledge about stuff that I learned in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And y'all elders. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. And that just goes to show you that people just need to take care of their doggone kids. And I'm going to get into the law of buoyancy seriously, but I have to stress this. People need to take care of their kids. People need to be there in their children's life, really educate them, really sit down with them, because this is the result of when you have all these boomers, okay, who are children of heroin addicts, crack addicts, cocaine addicts, and then they themselves was doing dope, drugs, huffing, and, pimping and all this. This is the result that you get. Okay? People 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old talking about their high scientists, and they're talking about base level physics and trig and calculus and all of this other type of stuff that I learned in high school. And these are the all wise. It's mental illness. And it's really sad. And I'm at the point in my life, I'm not even mad at those people anymore. It's a sadness that I have. It's a sadness. But back to the law of buoyancy, and why I gave that up, because gave up peace, seeking peace, and all this type of things. I'm never going to say that I did not have peace, but because I did, okay? But what people don't understand is, in order for you to get into a state of peace, depending on where you're at in your life, sometimes you have to really fight for it. And I mean, like, really fight. That's why people go to war, so they can get peace. It is what it is. But when you are buoyant, and then peace is just so cliche. It's just really cliche. But when you are buoyant and you're moving on in life, like, it's just like the ultimate surrender, and you're being guided and you're just going. But as you go along and you're floating along, you're just not floating in the abyss. You're just not just being guided anywhere. You're actually floating to a really safe space. And also, if we go back to the definitions of buoyancy: successful or making a profit, successful and with a lot of activity, increasing or staying at a high level. Okay? Not easily depressed, cheerful, tending to increase or stay at a high level, usually showing financial success. You don't get that with peace. You don't. Okay? So I have just removing all of these cliches from my mind. Then I'm from the Gulf, I'm from the Gulf Coast. So in my mind, it's just immediately connected with me, because if you've ever swam in the Gulf of Mexico, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's everywhere where there's large bodies of water. But if you go too far, there are buoys out there, and the buoys are actually telling you that, hey, you're going too far. Like, don't go past these buoys. But the buoys are actually floating in the Gulf of Mexico. But when there are hurricanes, tropical depressions, any type of storm out there in the Gulf of Mexico, no matter how much the weather is throwing these buoys around and all of these types of things, the buoys, they don't sink. They don't sink. Okay? Just like boats, or if a boat is made correctly, no matter how much it's, tossed and turned and, all this type of stuff, it doesn't sink if it's done correctly. Okay? But buoyancy is what allows boats to stay on top of water. So that is what I'm seeking in my life. I don't even want to say seeking. It's the path that I'm on right now, because we're always going to go through things. That is just a fact of life. But with the law of buoyancy, you're always rising to the top. Okay? You're always bouncing back. Literally. No matter what. Quickly. And you can go forward with that. And you just always are able to stay afloat no matter what comes your way. And that's really not the case with peace. Okay? It's really not the case with that. But some people may disagree, but it is what it is. You're entitled to have your disagreements. But I just wanted to talk about that for me. And also that goes along with how I actually interpret things and how things resonate with me, because that is a science where I really connect myself with the elements of the earth. I do. Okay, so I know when I'm getting really upset, then it can conjure up a natural disaster, either physically or spiritually. So there's times where I may be sitting on something for a long time, holding grudges. I used to hold grudges really, really bad. And eventually they will come to a surface. So that was a volcanic eruption, so, and then I also equated myself to like Mount Vesuvius or Mount Stromboli in Italy. And I still to this day believe that I made Mount Stromboli erupt, because not the last time, but when I was in Italy in 2013, that something had went down in Italy and I was really, really upset. And Mount Stromboli ended up erupting, and it hadn't erupted in a really, really, really long time. But I was really upset. Okay, it was really bad. I actually thought that I was not going to make it back to the United States. I thought that I was going to get locked up abroad. But thankfully, I got a chance to not only hike up Mount Stromboli, but after I came back down, after I descended and we got on a boat and we were going back to the mainland of Italy, the volcano started to erupt. So yes, I do believe that. That is something a little quirky about me, but I'm not like regular volcanoes that just erupt all the time, because people not afraid of those types of things. So I kind of consider myself more so as Mount Stromboli and Mount Vesuvius. Okay, when I erupt, and all hell is going to break loose. But that is also why I have started to actually work on the issue that I had with anger, rage, revenge, and retaliation, because of the aftermath of these things when I go into a volcanic eruption, Or when I live technically in the tropics. So even though I'm in the United States, when I go into that tropical depression, oh, don't even let me get in a situation to where it turns into a hurricane. And I can really go on and on and on about this. So those types of elements I can really see in myself, and I really identify myself in the elements of the earth, and even some things of, I don't want to necessarily say outer space, but there's so many layers to the earth up until you get into space. So not just on the physical surface of earth. I'm talking about literally as above, so below. There's literally so many layers of the earth. And then of course in the middle you have that core. And so my core, when I get going, when I go into that natural disaster mode because I'm angry, dealing with rage, retaliation, or revenge, the aftermath is really, really bad. And I just don't really want to do that anymore unless it's just absolutely necessary. So that is why I have started to just check things immediately and not sit on that and not hold a grudge, because I know what happens when I hold those grudges, and it's not pretty for the person or persons or people who have done what I like to say trespassing against me. And then there is a property law. It's an ancient Roman property law term, well, phrase that I really, really, really love. And I really want y'all to look this up. It's in Latin, but I'm going to translate it to English. It says, whoever owns the soil, it is theirs all the way to heaven, all the way down to hell. And then some translations, it says, whoever owns the soil, it is theirs all the way up to heaven and all the way to the depths down below. Now, I said all the way down to hell, but a lot of people don't know this. The Romans, when they said hell, they were not talking about like this fiery place or with a devil with some horns and a pitchfork. They literally was talking about the ground underneath you and all the minerals and everything underneath. I don't know why the people translated it to hell, but that was not the original interpretation. They were talking about mineral rights, okay? And even back then, clearly they didn't have planes, but they had enough understanding to know that the airspace above us, you have rights to that as well. And now we're starting to see that with all this Space Force and all of this stuff that's going on. So, but that is one of my favorite phrases, and that is an ancient Roman property law. Whoever owns the soil, it is theirs all the way to heaven, down to the deepest depths below. And I own myself, I own myself. So as above, so below, literally. So I see myself in all of these elements, and and that was my biggest issue with the conscious community, because they weren't living according to those teachings. And I'm saying everything and everything. So if we're talking about the weather, we're talking about all of these types of things. I never really dealt with tornadoes because we have tornadoes here in Louisiana, but I wholeheartedly believe that tornadoes, that's why I tell black folks don't live around racist people, because tornadoes usually hit those places where all those races live at. But yeah, but I know that was a lot, but it really resonates with me. It really touches my inner being and my inner core when I look at geology terms, geographic terms, weather terms, all of these things that are dealing with comprising the earth, man. And I can just go on and on and on. But the more I research, the more I learn, the more I get better in tune with myself. And for me, dealing with that law of buoyancy, man, because those oceans, those seas, lakes, rivers, even some of these ponds, basins, it's a real deal when you get out there on that water. So many people have not made it through. And we still, what people don't understand about, just take it to ocean science in general, the ocean is actually deeper than Mariana's Trench, and that's supposedly like the deepest place on the face of the earth. But it's deeper than that. And will it happen in my lifetime where scientists will be able to get to the bottom of the ocean? I don't know. But what I do know is nobody has ever really been able to conquer the water and conquer that. But if you're buoyant, you're able to stay on top of that surface, man, and not get sucked up, because it is real. It is real. And I have to even stop learning about ocean science, because it can get a lot of scare. It can get really scary once you really start thinking about what is really down there. What is living down there? It is real. Okay, it is real. But dealing with the law of buoyancy and staying at the top and going from there. And thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.